7-234-4923. My forecast for your Saturday, a blend of sun and clouds, temperatures in the mid-80s, and a 20-30% chance of a shower thunderstorm. 20-30% chance of a shower thunderstorm tonight, partly to mostly cloudy in the mid to upper 60s. A better chance of showers and thunderstorms Sunday, partly to mostly cloudy in the low 80s. And more clouds, showers, and thunderstorms on Monday, Columbus Day, in the mid-80s with some sunshine as well. Your life, your music. We're KLEK 102.5 FM.
From Feature Story News in Los Angeles, I'm Francis Reed. Almost a week after the worst mass shooting in U.S. history, Las Vegas police still say they're unclear of a motive. The United Nations says global refugee numbers have swelled this year by more than 2 million people. And tributes have been paid this week to the rock and roll musician Tom Petty, who died at the age of 66.
It's 12:01.
KLEK-LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for our Thoughts on the Matter, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.
KLEK 102.5 FM. This is Allie J, and I'm your host today for our Thoughts on the Matter. I am joined today by Mr. Brad Dow.
Hello.
Brad, we haven't seen you in a good minute.
No, been on the road.
Good to have you back.
It is good to be back.
We also have Miss Helen Scott.
Hey, hey, hey.
And, of course, Miss Amanda Donovan. And
what's up, y'all?
Brother Cobbs just walked in. Hey. He just walked in.
Good to see you, Brother Cobbs.
We have a full panel, and today we are ready to discuss the situation about the homeless shelter and crisis stabilization center. So, guys, what are your thoughts on the matter?
My thoughts are of the fact that, from my understanding, the community got together and decided that it would bring down their property value. I'm just going to go ahead out the gate, just run full blast with it. Anybody could be, I believe, Amanda, we talked last segment that anyone can be homeless at any given time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And to say that it will bring down, I was not there to hear the comment specifically, but to say that it would rather safety not be the issue, which I understand that plays a part in there too, but that it will bring down your property value hits a little bit hard because, as we recall,
I've been following this on via social media, and there's been several sites, including like the NEA report, Region 8 News, people just talking about this. Even this one lady even said, praise the Lord that this didn't go through. The first thing the good Lord preaches is you help and love thy neighbor as you do yourself. So, you know, just for your property value. I mean, I can understand. I'm a homeowner. I mean, I try to get every cent.
Well, they used to do that. They pulled that trick a long time ago, and I'm going to tell you, we have found that certain things really don't bring down your property value unless someone wants to bring it down, and then it's whatever excuse they could use and put it on there. At one point, it was the color of your skin could bring down property value, and since then, it's been a different tone. So I understand safety is an issue, and when you just are open and honest and saying, I don't trust the type of people that you're going to bring in here because I don't know if they're going to break into my home. I don't know what they're going to do when I'm outside, possibly unloading out my car. These people may come to this place and may not be in the right frame of mind, and that scares me for the safety of my family. I can understand that, but your property value, let me tell you, your grass not being cut could be a problem in some neighborhoods. You know, just not keeping up your home could be a problem in some neighborhoods. But another person's life being close to yours, if it brings down your property value, maybe you need to move because one day you could be that person.
So just to help everybody in the topic, to clarify some information, this is a previous facility that was being
used
no
as
longer
a nursing home.
Was it still in use?
No,
I think it was empty.
It was
correct?
empty. It was in
empty.
use up until they built their new facility, and then they moved out.
So, this is the new one that just went out towards Hilltop. Correct?
Right.
Okay.
This
so,
is Ridgecrest, the
so
old
just-
one on 140.
But the old one never had any marks against it. Never had any
Well,
problems with it.
no,
It was
it was
approved.
it had a lockdown unit.
So here's what I'm doing. I'm asking some open-ended questions, so if people
Okay.
don't know really what's going on,
They do know
we
going.
can shed some information for the listeners. Maybe they
Right.
might not know everything. So, previous nursing home that is empty due to the previous owners
It was-
relocating. Okay, so it is somewhat in a residential area, correct? It is also within very, very close proximity to an elementary school,
Yes.
correct? And this empty building was being donated.
Right.
Okay, so those are kind of the information we're looking at, and also, and this is my personal thought now, is that typically when you place businesses like this or facilities like this, typically they go in and look and see, ahead of time, potentially surveying the proper places to put things like this. So, being as that was gifted, some of those probably preliminary steps weren't normally taken. So,
Right.
everybody kind of agree to that?
Are you talking about that? I'm glad that you brought that up because I was wondering that myself. I know that when they bring in a grocery store, such as the one that's
Just
down
business
here,
in general.
Yeah,
you
business in
study
general.
you study your local impact.
Yes,
Right.
and
Typically.
don't they sometimes? Isn't there a letter that's sent out letting you know what they're trying to do and giving you the opportunity to speak up as a community?
Right.
Before
There is, and that letter did go out. And that's why they had that meeting about different people who opposed it being able to come out and say.
So I'm kind of being impartial when I say this because I have no stake in the game in this whatsoever. I can see from a homeowner perspective. I truly can.
The problem was, I
Right.
think the biggest problem wasn't the fact that I think it's more the city try to ramrod it down the people's throat.
I
Coming
think it was
in,
pretty much told like, hey, this
This
was
is
gifted.
what's
It's going to
gonna
save
go
us some
on.
money. So
That's
this
what
is
I'm
what's
thinking
gonna
also.
happen.
And it's so funny that you say that because I just got a comment from Ms. Donna Humble who said, I can't speak for everyone, but I think the city officials could have done a better job at talking about the
I
plan
believe
instead of
so.
just saying, this is what we're going to do.
So
I believe so.
I can
Because
see
what
all
they-
sides of it.
yes, but what
Yeah.
the city could have done and said, hey, community, said establishment has been donated to us. This is what they're wanting to do in this facility.
Yes.
Now, we need to sit down and talk. We need to have a public hearing.
Yes.
We need to have a couple of things
With-
go
with-
on
are there-
legally, and community service wise.
Are there schools and churches out that way?
Yes,
There's a school
but-
within 5-minute walking.
I will
Okay.
tell you
Elementary
something.
school.
I grew up less than a mile from the Craighead County Sheriff's Department, the jailhouse. I was able to go play outside.
what I was
we
thinking.
have never, ever, ever had a problem. So, as far as safety, when people say my safety, and these people are judging these people based on their safety, that is actually telling me that these people do not trust our own.
But I would be more
Police
inclined to
department,
hear
sheriff's
about the
department.
safety. Not that that's a better argument, but to hear about the safety than property value.
I know
True.
that
You
breaks
know,
my heart.
But I do want to throw this in there,
Yes.
and this is, in essence, it is a form of a catch-22. It is. You have to look at both sides of this because if where you live, if something were to impact your community, because we talk about community, this is the constant goal of this show, right? We talk
True.
about how things
Yes.
affect our community.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
this community voiced their opinion. Now,
Yes.
and I think we would all agree, if something came into your local little ecosystem and impacted it without you having an opinion or a thought or a say, there would be an uprising, right? I mean,
Yes.
people would be very, very upset if they didn't have some form of stake in what goes on in their area. And this is how the system should be designed. The community should have a say in
They
what
should.
goes on.
They definitely
And
should.
they came together. That just
For
goes to show you that
example, what we're
it does
going-
work in people's favor.
Every community should
Even-
have a say.
It does work in people's favor despite what other areas think is not right or wrong.
Right.
Yes.
Okay?
For example, Brad. For example, what
agree,
Brad was
Brad.
saying.
Right?
A shooting range that has had, all kinds of publicity.
Yes.
That people have had an opportunity to come and speak, not just once, 2 or 3 times. Come and actually talk to the people. This is what we're going to do.
Yes.
This is the pictures of the inside of the building. This is what the outside's going to do.
To give them a little bit more education.
Right. And
I mean, you just
can't throw it at somebody. Tell them this is what's going to happen. Well, I tell you, I'm one of them kind of people. You don't tell me.
Where can you put any place where there is going to house people or have people on a regular basis coming back and forth? There aren't what you would call
the
savory.
idea.
Everybody's going to have a problem.
The idea was promoted and put out that it was going to be located within the grounds of the Craighead County Sheriff's Department. Now they do have room. But the big ordeal was, unless you've been in construction and dealt with businesses being brought from ground level, the money, the taxpayers' money, is what, the bottom dollar. Because, they were estimating $2 million, I do believe. Don't quote me, but I believe
to build from the ground up?
No, for that facility to be donated. That's how much the facility was worth.
So imagine what it would cost to build from the ground up.
Right.
With new standards.
Standards.
Brother Cobbs.
Very quiet over there.
Yes, and I'm sure I'm wondering, how do you feel about what the community said versus what they were going to have happen?
Intimate domain. I don't care intimate domain. I don't care how you feel about a situation. If the city want to do it,
they'll do it.
They're going to do it.
I don't think that area is that area actually in the city limits.
It's
I can't remember where the cutoff
was. The cutoff, so we're clear where it is at and actually located. The Jonesboro city limit sign is right in its driveway.
Okay.
The highway actually goes from 2 lanes on that side down to 1 lane right there at that driveway.
That's correct.
So what I'm saying is that, like you said earlier, anywhere you're going to put it, you're going to have opposition.
Correct.
The opposition I have is, why is it way out there? Homeless is mostly in the center.
And they will have to get way out there
to get to it. Buses, I don't think it runs.
The buses don't run out there.
No. But I'm just saying, wherever you put, whatever the city tried to do, you always have somebody stopping the plan. We need to just come together and say, if it's going to be for the better good, why not?
Exactly.
I mean, everything they try to build apartments. But no, we don't want to do that. They try to build an amusement center. We don't want that. What do you want?
Correct.
And as a city, as a town, our listeners, if you would like to participate, our number is 1-870-277-1080, and also comment on our Facebook live stream.
There have been comments on our Facebook live stream. Ms. Donna Humble, she says she wants to know what law it is on radius area. The neighbors are to be notified about this.
I don't believe there's a law.
There's no law about it. She said living not even 2 miles from the facility, I nor my neighbors never received anything. I read earlier that there were people who did receive letters though. So I don't know.
I know my grandparents.
They had a nursing home. They had a nursing home out there.
Already.
How many?
And they live a half mile from that facility.
Got away.
Because they do wander off.
They wander off.
They do wander off.
And you're also looking at a completely different type of quote unquote patient with this. That is true. And you have to think about that. I mean,
okay. I understand that, Brad, but let's go into where you work, JHCC. They have different, as residential neighborhoods around there. There's kids playing because there's a complex down there.
There's a school.
There are 2 schools right beside it.
Yeah. And as far as I know, there is no fence.
No, I get it.
And I've never heard of any kind of problem that there was not being handled.
It was out there before the houses got out there.
Right.
So there, then the houses built to it. The school built to it.
And that's sort of kind of the way the nursing home out on 141 was. The houses came to it.
So you come later, but now you're going to call the shots as to what we're going to do
out here.
Well,
those people did leave, and the place is vacant, so they,
Well, so now we have to, as a city, we have to decide who's going to be, what part of our city is going to be more comfortable or is going to not say anything.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
I don't have a problem wherever they put it.
Because we still have to get this place somewhere.
I am a Christian woman. These people need a place to live. I mean, like I said, the good Lord says, "Help thy neighbor as you would yourself." How would you want to see, like Stan Morrison was saying on the internet on his live Facebook, taking you to the place where he found that young lady that was homeless at the edge of the bridge? Some people have not hit rock bottom, and they ought to be grateful for that. But for us, of those who have seen dirt poor and dirt bottom, where you're wondering day to day whether or not I might get kicked out of my place or not, or oh my God, I am there, and I've got kids.
And it's not just young people that can be homeless; it's the elderly also.
I do commend. I will commend Jamie B. Motel.
Yes, they did step up.
They stepped up and gave a room or 2 rooms or something like that.
That's a good topic because I know we were going to touch on that here in a little bit. I mean, and this is just one thing I was just sitting here thinking is, again, just remind me, the nursing home, is it yes or no in city limits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know the grants that were provided were technically going to the county level, so I was wondering, how that would overlap.
Maybe it was just covering overlap.
It's within the buffer zone of the county, and it's right there at the city limits on.
That probably definitely has to be considered of logistically
where
based off the grant money that is being provided for this and what jurisdiction it falls under. There's probably a certain area that they're allowed to do this, but I mean things like the Jamie B, or even when you hear the Jamie B Motel, and I'm not trying to step on toes, it has a stigma.
But at least
it's got a rep.
I would,
and this is at least they stepping up.
As me as a citizen, I would love to see maybe can they retrofit that to be a facility, and it also in essence cleans up the element and actually turns it around in more of a positive and giving back to the community. That would be a great place, because you brought up a good point. The nursing home facility itself is good, but the logistics and where it's at are so
people would have to walk really, really far, and most of our homeless do not use the bus system.
And if we're trying to help out a certain,
because it costs
group of people, where that is located could be very beneficial. But with the grant money that's being provided, does it fall under the realm of being a recipient? I don't know.
But you saying about it being it's a county grant?
Yeah, I believe that's what
most
it was.
Most of it comes from
Jonesboro itself sits square.
But the county doesn't have control over Jonesboro.
Right.
No.
Within the city limits.
I know that, but the city wants to join up with the county to do this.
So, all I was saying is there might be some stipulations of how that money can be allocated.
Well, that's sort of kind of like the Crockett County Sheriff's Department. Until it was annexed into the city limits of Jonesboro, it was out in Crockett County. But when we got annexed, they got annexed too. And, it's right on the border, just like Ridgecrest is. It's one of those catch-22s.
I saw on there where they definitely have to look into other options now. I'm wondering, was there ever a list of places before this one was donated?
No.
Because
I don't think it was, because it wasn't considered a problem at the time.
Actually, within the last couple of months going to the quorum court meetings, this has been a topic that Marty Boyd, our sheriff, has brought up in discussion, and they are researching facilities either having to retrofit existing or building. So it is something that has been actively been being researched.
But there wasn't
that hotel downtown, I think they already had a kitchen, they already had given out thing, they already had the rooms and stuff.
It was due to asbestos and
you cannot clean up asbestos.
Probably
to a certain extent.
Probably from a contractor and insurance perspective, there's probably a break point where it was cost efficient and health risk wise better to demolish versus retrofit.
There may be part of the problem with having the Jamie B Motel be a long-term facility for this, because I don't know that they're exactly ready. It's almost like you would have to go back and undo and redo completely a lot of stuff to get it up to code.
That's anywhere.
Christy Mathis Conway from our Facebook Live post, she has said that's not true, and that there were other places considered as well. So, Christy, if you know what other places were considered, please share.
Well, that's what I was mentioning. They have been researching potential places for a facility like this. This was just donated.
Right.
And so it kind of forefronted to the jump of the line, the front of the line, because it was donated.
It was donated, and they could save some money. Yeah, I understand that.
Almost $2 million worth.
So then, who's if they were going to donate it, the owners, if they were going to donate it to the city, then whose obligation would it have been to get in contact with the residences, the city or the owners that were thinking of donating this to the city for that purpose?
I believe it's both.
Both.
Now, I would believe that most of it fall on the city and the county, because if I donate it to you, I don't have to tell you why I donate mine.
You don't have to tell them nothing, huh, Brother Connor?
If I donate, that's it. But
eminent domain all the way.
I'm telling you, but it's up to the city to let the people know what's going on.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd probably go through the MAP and the planning commissions or some office like that.
But our plan. I mean, I don't go to I don't go to any of the meetings. I hear about them, but they plan and plan and plan, then drop.
Where's the work ethic? But it is what it is, and
yes, it is.
We got to figure out what we're gonna do with these homeless people.
We definitely do, because they're still homeless today, and if that word got out to them, if anyone said anything to them, imagine the disappointment that is. That's like telling a child
Christmas is canceled.
They don't care about Christmas no more, Amanda. But that's like, as long as they.
Oh, my girls. Birthday and Christmas, that's all they care about.
That's like
what I'm saying. Why they sitting up there arguing over a spot?
Yes.
Can we get a temporary spot?
Something. I mean, other than the Jamie B, something maybe that's a little bit more.
I don't think Jamie B is right, because they're always in the mall. They're always up and down Caraway Stadium.
Yes.
I mean,
it's kind of a commercial area for the most part anyway, so you wouldn't really have the issue of residential home.
How about churches that are?
There are some churches.
Definitely churches. Yeah, some of them do that. I know the Huntington is a mission, and so they feed them, and well, I don't want to say them because it's like a separate person, and that's not correct. But they offer a lot of things to the people, to anyone, homeless, non-homeless, things like that. But
another panel who isn't here, Shanquetta, she wanted to say that the voices of the few outweighed the silence of the majority, and those of us that support it could have been proactive in expressing our support, and statistically there's a higher probability that people will get hurt from those that they know more than anyone else. So
you could have did something before this.
We have a caller, do me a favor.
What's up, Mr. Greer?
Hold on.
Hold on the line.
Just hold on the line for just a second, because we are about to get ready and go to a break. And when we come back, I want us to focus more on not necessarily the homeless, but the mental, the mental illness side of it, because I feel like that's where a lot of people are having the most issue. So we're going to talk about that. Mr. Greer, give us a call back in just a second.
You're listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Angie with your KLEK Learn Spanish Minute. Okay, we are covering popular prompts today, so it's a cannibal tag. I do not agree because it's late. En mi opinión, in my opinion.
In my opinion.
En mi opinión.
Oh, in mi opinión.
Perfecto. Estoy me recuerda de. Esto me recuerda de. This reminds me of.
Esto me recuerdo de.
Esto me recuerda de.
Esto me recuerda de.
This reminds me of my youth.
Probably was a good time.
Oh yes, 90s. Woohoo! No, just kidding.
I'm Angie, and that was your Learn Spanish Minute on KLEK 102.5 FM.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated presents Awareness Seminar, Saturday, October 7th, 2017 at 10 o'clock a.m. at the Arkansas State University Student Union St. Francis River Room. This will be an opportunity to learn more information about becoming a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. More information is available via Derek Singleton at 870-780-4539.
0606, who we talking about?
Danny Ford, owner of Glen Saint Motors in Paragould, strongly believes in the values of family and hard work with a commitment to the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who keep America free, providing sales and servicing of Chevys, GMCs, Buicks, and Cadillacs, located at 6345 Highway 49 in Paragould. 870-565-4358. Details at glensaintparagould.com and at klekfm.org. God bless our troops.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
KLEK 102.5 FM. We are back, and I wanted to go ahead and read this from our Facebook Live. I would love for a homeless facility to be there. My question, where with regards to the mental part and the type of patient, security, etc. That's from Miss Donna Humble, and that's why we are going to focus now on the mental illness part of this facility.
Well, Miss Humble, I would love to let you know something. You could have a neighbor that has a mental health issue, and they're taking prescription drugs and they're going to their doctor. You never know where that's going to come from. And just because you house people and you offer this to a person that fits that description does not mean that 2 houses down, does not mean that a visitor in a house, in your home, anywhere, in your church, in your school, is not suffering from some sort of mental disease or some sort of illness, treated and untreated. So I do understand the concern, but that's kind of like saying when you sneeze, who all gets affected. You know, you have to follow each particle, and you never know where it's going to come from or go.
So I guess part of this too is the statement of housing mental health. That's a very wide category. I mean, you can be talking about, for lack of a better term, a psych ward. You could be talking about mental health holding, dealing with law enforcement. There's a lot of different aspects of that. So which area do we want to touch on this?
We got 20 minutes. Let's touch on everything.
Okay, I'm gonna back up real quick, Brad, while you decide where you're gonna start it.
Well, I know you're looking something up, so yes, I know we were mentioning.
I looked it up.
Oh, you already did. So go ahead. You got the stage.
Kindly.
or the airwaves.
Well, I know that Brother Cobbs kept mentioning eminent domain, and that's the term that I kept hearing growing up, and it's the term that you still hear. But just to the viewers, there's different ways of saying eminent, but we're talking about eminent, EMINENT, and domain, and it is the right of a government or its agent to expropriate private property for public use with payment of compensation. And I don't believe,
and it's got to be fair and equal value.
Yes,
it's supposed to be.
And you don't always, as citizens, as the neighbors, the people in the community, it's like if they say, hey, we want to put railroad track down here, guess what we're going to do? We're going to put some railroad tracks down here for the reason that we see that is necessary. Some places have to deal with this, and unfortunately some don't. If it were in different neighborhood, maybe the lower income neighborhood, I don't even know if this would be considered. So that's what I want to touch on. Brad.
Oh, okay. So I think part of the topic that's been coming up with the mental health issue, and I know and this is just from what I listen to from, like, for example, the quorum court meetings and things like that, a lot of it that they've been dealing with has been, for example, if police are called or things like that, instead of actually booking someone that might be of mental illness, instead of booking them into the system, having a place for them to get, I guess, temporary treatment until they can determine what's going on. And I think that's where a lot of this grant and topic is coming from, and I know that is something that the Craighead County sheriffs have been trying to partner with and have received this grant to have a facility like that, versus, again, booking them into the system or taking them to the emergency room where they're pretty much immediate let out. You know, keeping these people from becoming a criminal record simply because they have an issue that they can't actually take care of.
Brad, does it seem to help from what you guys see?
Well, since we don't have a facility for it, it's kind of hard to say.
Like the current process that you were speaking of.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, you might have someone that, I mean, let's say they're schizophrenic or, you know,
just need their meds.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and that happens, and
that's not
keeping them from hurting themselves, but also
it's a humongous liability on the county because
from becoming a criminal at that point because they don't have someone technically.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. We got a phone call. Mr. Greer, can you hear us?
I think you got
Hello.
Hello.
You know what? We're gonna do like I did last time.
Whatever works.
Hey, Mr. Gray, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
What's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling in because I keep hearing this opposition was because of the homeless issue. But now you're talking about the real issue of the opposition, which is the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I work at a school that is 0.8 miles from this facility. And we're going to transport guys or girls or whomever from the jail who have mental health issues and house them anywhere from 24 to 96 hours. 0.8 miles from a school. Who's going to make sure those people do not leave that facility and not end up on my campus?
Do you have security at your campus?
No, ma'am, we do not.
No, ma'am.
You all need to get possibly look into security at your campus. Most schools have on-site security guards or Jonesboro Police Department or something on that, just regular, regardless of whatever happens. So, as a mother,
that's a different conversation because
that actually costs the school.
Funding. So, where are those funds going to come to put a security officer at every school? So that's a different issue. So the bottom line is, to me, is when we're talking about putting a place like that near a school, there's an issue. And it's not, we don't want the homeless there. That was never my intent of being against this. I'm cautious. I have first graders through sixth graders at my school, and therefore I have to keep those kids in mind. No one else would want a facility like that close to their school.
And that was my question to this.
Would it matter if it were a house that a person bought that had a mental instability and they lived there and there was a couple of them living on that block or a couple of blocks over? Does it, or is the problem that it's in all in one place and you worried because it's multiple in one place?
Again, we're talking about people who will be transported by the police. Not just someone living on your block who has issues with mental health. We're talking about individuals that will be transported by the police to this facility.
Same thing as people that don't want to live on a block where there is a school. I understand the issue, but I believe that there is a way that we can meet without making people feel unwanted.
Now, I can see, Mr. Greer, I can see your problem, and that was my big issue with that. The homeless, I didn't have a real big problem. But the mental institution, my question was, why was this decided this close to the school? What kind of, just basic necessities? Why aren't we being told what's going to be down? Is this going to be fenced off? Is this going to be barricaded? My question was, why couldn't we have the homeless shelter at Ridgecrest, and why didn't we build the mental facility on the Craighead County Sheriff's Department? That was my question.
Well, I think the
or the hospital, that would be a whole
the
lot
answer
better.
for that is extremely simple. It was donated. That's the answer of why.
I understand that, but you got to think how many rooms that nursing homes have.
Granted, I'm gonna actually, I actually 100% agree with him.
Yes.
Because
I don't understand why we couldn't have put it in the old mall.
His job is to educate and protect children, and I guarantee you, as soon as an issue comes up, someone's gonna be out there with pitchforks and be like, "Why did we put this next to our school, and why did children get hurt, and the safety of our children?" And that is their responsibility as educators.
Also,
and I 100% agree with it.
before they do that, they also have to check to see if they're a sex offender,
Mm-hmm.
because a sex offender can't be so close to a school.
And you know what? I've said this before on the show, and I'll stick by it. Is we always screen for damage control, but we never prepare.
Yes.
And taking the precautions now, I get it and I agree with it, but we all flip out when something bad goes happen, and let's just go ahead and be proactive and prevent that, and let's protect
Our schools.
children and safety.
Okay, so
Thank you, Mr. Greer, for calling in.
Thank you so much for
And
giving us a call.
Thank
So what we're thinking about, I think everybody in the back of their mind is saying, possibly saying is put them way out somewhere where we can't see them, where they can't affect us, and put a fence around with electric currents running through it.
Who said that though? Who said that?
it's one of those things where it's implied because no one wants it anywhere around. Not you possibly, but someone.
No, it's not possibly. I would
the
100%
homeless shelter, we could use the Ridgecrest for that. Mr. Greer, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I don't think the people had the problem with the homeless people. It's more the mental illness issue. My question is, since this facility was donated and was supposed to be ran by people who were supposed to help the homeless, why can't we build a small facility since this one is donated? Why not build a small one right there, a facility to house the mental illness side of it right there on the grounds of the Craighead County Sheriff's Department?
I have a feeling that's where it'll end up going.
Because of...
Hold on, we got another phone call, and I think it's Miss Quabila this time. Hey, Quabila.
Hi.
What's up, honey? What's on your mind?
Okay, I just want to interject real quick, and I'm going to let y'all get back. To add to the mental health illness aspect, I have, done shows and spoken with many individuals who work in the mental health field. And with people who suffer from mental illness, the one thing they don't want or don't appreciate is isolation. I do understand the safety. I am not negating that. I have a child and I have families with young children, so I understand. Please hear me on that. My thing is, if they put those people out there in that facility, do you think they're just going to let them run rampant? I do know that resources may have been limited and security is an issue, but I would like to think that if whoever made plans to put that individuals in that facility, they would make sure that all these I's are dotted, T's are crossed, everything is handled from front to back. That's just my opinion and my understanding. So I just want to throw that out there.
That's not only your opinion, Quabila, but there's a lot of state laws and rules and regulations that have to be applied by when you're running a facility like this, because it can be just like a jail. They have to secure it.
The problem that most people can't get past is they hope for the best but expect the worst. What if one breaks out?
Well, I hope they have personal security in their homes, because it's just like if you go to the store, you run the risk of someone coming in there, and we see it on the news all the time.
I understand that, but the mental illness side, mental illness can stem from PTSD to all the way up to, like Brad was saying, schizophrenia and all kinds of these. Anyways, even medicine, drug related could be considered. But like I was saying, if they put a small facility right there in Craighead County Sheriff's Department Detention Center, they would have more security, more people. Actually, the safety concern from the neighbors probably would go down quite a bit. But it will cost some money. That's the issue.
And on the mental illness side, you have to get into that facility. Some people live with mental illness and they probably will not go. You have to there are steps that have you to wind up there, whether it's because you're there legally, because you did something in the court are putting you there, or because maybe you decide to go there on your own, but you have to get to the point where you're there. Until then, these people are the homeless and the mental illness are still in the community.
But there's a difference in this here, because we're not talking about the people that are at home. We're not talking about the people that are on Medicaid. We're talking about the people that are doing things unlawfully.
And got arrested.
And they got arrested.
Yes.
We're talking about those people, because we have facilities for those other people.
Yes.
For people that have problems. We have facilities for those. But this is for facility for the people that committing crimes, and there's the jail has no place to really
help them.
And where do you put them?
And that's why I was saying.
Okay, like Quabila said, they don't want to be contained.
No, they don't.
Who wants to be contained? Nobody wants to be contained. But if you do the crime, I'm sorry, you got to pay the time. But it's a crime that they doing, so why not put them out there in the county in a separate building, separate facility? If you're going to build it, you got to have employees, you got to have staff, you got to have all that. So why not put them there where the facilities and the staff and you did whatever you did to get out here? That might help them then trying to put them in a facility with other people that that really don't know how to deal with these people.
See, my
These
question
people are
was,
crime people. They are people that are committing crime, not just an everyday person sitting on their porch and they might run across the street naked or something like that. Well, that's a crime too. But I mean, just
my question was, this facility can only house so many people. So
And-
how much was going to go for what, and who was
And
going to?
that's where Miss Christy Mathis Conway has come in and say today again. She said as far as the mental health part, it's her understanding that it's not long term, it's just for stabilization.
Exactly.
And
That's what Mr. Greer was saying also.
yeah. And it's only 13 to 16 beds that are going to be dedicated to the mental health treatment. And also, from her understanding, it's going to be a lockdown facility. So anyone, and she asked if anyone can shed light on the security mechanism of the facility.
One thing to keep in mind,
13,
too.
wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
She was saying 13 and 14. That's at that building.
Yeah.
But if you build them a building, you can have more space.
And it goes into what Brad was saying
And then
with
also
prevention.
keep in mind too that just like the Craighead County Jail, when there are open beds, we will be taking in people from surrounding areas, which goes back to what Mr. Greer was saying, transportation of, for lack of a better term, inmates.
Because technically they have committed a crime in order to get arrested.
inmates. So-
and that was my big concern.
So, I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there, and I think sometimes this becomes an issue, is I think a lot of times the rose-tinted glasses are on of only looking at the aspect of we're trying to do good versus actually, I mean, and don't negate that. We need, there is a certain taking care of people. Yes, that it has to occur, but I think the rose-tinted glasses of I'm trying to do something nice, but not looking at the actual impact of everything. Yes, there is the good side of it. Yes, there is the charitable side of it. There is the somebody might take offense, but the Christian side of it. But there still is an impact. Every good thing still has an impact, and you have to weigh those things out versus only focusing on the side you want to see.
There's a lot of, I was thinking in my mind about all these different places. We have a lot of storage buildings that are huge on the inside. I went into one and I think they did like gymnastics in there. I'm not understanding why and they're off the highway, not too close to where people live. And I'm not understanding why a place like that isn't good enough. It's just, I know that there are other options, and I understand this was donated and there's a middle ground, but I honestly do not believe that anything we do, somebody's going to have a problem with it because no one wants to actually face it.
Well, and I think part of what you're saying again, though, is there's a certain aspect of we have money that is being granted, and they have to follow the guidelines of the grant to the T. They can't just go grab some pole barn and put people in it. They have to follow the guidelines of the money that's being granted.
But we can find some kind of a facility, a place that follows that stays within the ground rules. And then after we sorted out all the main details with the state, eminent domain could definitely play a part because
potentially, but there's not just facilities like this on every corner.
But if we get one, that's the most important part. And then making sure that it's somewhere once we look at all the maps and do all of this, because somebody is going to have a problem with some aspect of it. And at the end of the day, these are people too, whether they have done crimes or just maybe somebody can't deal with a family member anymore that they've been living with them.
I mean, the simple fact that this topic is on the table of trying to find a facility to handle this is no one's negating that at all.
Well, let's hope that is definitely because I do know that there are people in town that really, they don't want to face the ugly truth in life. They don't want it in their face. They don't want it anywhere they go.
Most people don't want to face the reality.
Well, Brad, I face reality all the time.
No, you're a different person. You're
That's
yourself.
I
appreciate that.
But
and it's just that when you see life from a different aspect, it makes you sensitive to the fact that other people don't care. Some people won't say, I don't care. I understand the school. We have schools that we have banks and we have schools and we have jails and we have everything else. And at the end of the day, we still see people walk around on corners asking for a quarter, or they may be hearing 5-6 voices in their head. We have to, as a community, get a place to house these people where they are safe and the community is safe. Because as of now, where are they at? They're still roaming around. That's even worse, you guys.
Jail.
And then part of that too is again as Brother Cobb has pointed out a few different times here, is that we're talking about a facility based on people that have committed crime. I don't think they're just going to allow you just to go up to some, let's call it homeless person on the side of the road that might be hearing 5 or 6 voices and just yank them up and throw them in there. You can't do that.
These people have to
So unless they
break
commit
the
a
law.
crime, they have to commit themselves.
How long do they get held at the jail currently?
No. If you commit a crime, the judge assess you so many days. You got to sit out those days.
Well, part of this too is also.
So we can't say how many days they have to sit.
So as per this facility, when they go in, they may not get out as soon.
Also, part of this is also if a law enforcement officer picks someone up, they might not. That is also what this facility is going to be used for, from my understanding, is being able to determine do they have mental illness versus just a standard criminal. They might not have to be tried and found guilty and this and that. It's also it's almost.
Got 3 seconds.
I don't know, a general assessment as well.
Right. Is to see if they can stand to live in need to be in the facility, need treatment, or do they be put in jail?
But we're just not going to go big brother yank people off the side of the road.
So
you don't want that to happen.
That's for the real hardened criminals. That's what they're talking about.
Need to
The
be
big
where
concerns of the
they are.
schools
They
and
need
the
to be at
neighbors.
the jail. I mean, you transport them to the jail.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our thoughts on the matter.
You're listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Black Health Now.
African Americans with atrial fibrillation have nearly double the risk than their white counterparts of stroke, heart failure, coronary heart disease, and mortality from all causes. Atrial fibrillation, also called AFib or AF, is a quivering or irregular heartbeat that can lead to blood clots, stroke, heart failure, and other heart-related complications. At least 2.7 million Americans are living with AFib. AFib is the most common heart rhythm problem in the United States. It affects approximately 1% of the adult population and more than 5% of those 65 years or older. Fluttering and palpitations are key symptoms of AFib. If you think you may have atrial fibrillation, talk to your doctor. I'm Dr. Eric Griggs. Get checked, get fit, get moving with Black Health Now.
Black Health Now.
Black Health Now is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, empowerment. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Black Health Now is made possible by CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated, counseling individuals and groups of all ages. 1-866-972-1268. LSCIHelp.com.
The McDaniel Law Firm, 400 South Main Street in Jonesboro, is a firm believer in justice and equality for the minority community. The McDaniel Law Firm has fought for our rights for over 44 years. The McDaniel Law Firm offers legal help for wrongful death as well as trucking and automobile accidents. Bobby and Brett McDaniel are available for a free consultation at 870-336-4747 or at www.mcdaniellawyers.com.
From the KLEK Community Calendar, the family of Michael Johnson, son of J.W. Johnson, are seeking information on his whereabouts and well-being. Any information may be forwarded to Jewel Johnson at 870-732-6981 or grandkids415@gmail.com.
And now back to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM.
KLEK 102.5 FM. We actually have a caller on the phone right now. What's your name, caller?
Doris Scott.
All right, Miss Doris Scott, and what's up? What's on your mind?
I'm from Durham, Arkansas, and there's a very good topic that y'all on. I've been listening. I haven't been able to get any audio, play, but I've been listening to the audio, and it seems like y'all have a kind of a multifaceted thing going on there. Because you have two different sector of people that's in the community. You have those that are mental, and then you have those that have committed a crime. And main ones that they have locked up over the years are people with the marijuana issue, and those people won't come back with charges and nowhere to live, no job and stuff like that. There needs to be a program put in place, and a place for them to rehab back into the community, because society has branded them. All those people are not bad people, and I'm not saying all those are good, just like the mental people. We have to find a border. Down here the same way, we have to find a borderline to where just because you've been locked up, were you there for rape or committing a horrible crime against somebody? No, most of them were there because they sold like 2 grams of weed and had good intentionally to maybe doing their college trying to fund themselves. You have a lot of people in that situation, and just because they have been arrested and locked up, or because they have an issue that we're not understanding them, means that they need to be put exile away or put in a situation where they're not around people other than people that like them. Well, you know, the world has a lot of people and everybody is not the same, like a fingerprint. We have to incorporate them into our lifestyle so they can really kind of understand. And we can understand how to stay away from the bad activities by monitoring other people's bad activities. We'll know it. We know. We're supposed to be the same one, and sometimes I think they're the one we are the one insane, and they're the one sane because they know how to move themselves out into the community without being seen. A lot of them can
manipulate.
There are more out there than we even know. We just see the ones that's laying on the street, or the ones that stand at the bus stop, the one that's hustling around. We just see them, but there are a lot more out there than people give credit for. And y'all are right. It needs to be something. Needs to be some kind of rehab, converting the people back into the community system, put into place.
Thank you, Mama. Or thank you, Miss Scott.
Thank you so much for your call, Miss Scott. What do you guys have to say about that?
Okay, she's saying it was separate, and then she brought them back together. There are two, like she said, there are 2 separate issues. You have your homeless. Well, it's 3 separate issues. You have your homeless, your mental, and your mental that committing crime. Well, 4, and your homeless that committing crime. You got to learn that police officers have to learn how to distinguish between the two, between the 4.
And that's part of what this facility is because they're not trained to.
Right, they're not trained to handle the 4 opposition that they're coming up with. And they want to just throw them all in jail, and you cannot do that because, like I said, this person could be homeless, this person could be mental with just no problem whatsoever, but you think that they did something wrong, walking around the street jerking and doing something, and you think they got a problem, they did something. Or somebody don't want them in their store, but I jerk like this because I have a problem, but I'm not stealing from you. You know, you got to learn how to distinguish the two, and that's. You turn around and look at me like that.
There was something that was said in the call, and that kind of.
I promise.
There was something that said in the call that kind of stuck out to me. Is that, and I'm going to paraphrase from what I understood, was somebody committed a crime, and we're supposed to give them a consolation prize to go back into society. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I mean, if you're a criminal, you're a criminal.
It's not a consolation prize, but you don't treat them like they are no longer human.
Well, that's not what's being said. I mean, if someone is breaking the law out of their own choice, are we supposed to set them back up to and give them a handout to go back into society? I'm sorry, no.
If they go to jail, what do you think they get? They get free. They get food. They get shelter. Some of them even get cable.
That's fine, but I'm sorry. But
I agree with Brad along most lines.
Because no one's gonna learn if I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna break the law, and you're not gonna.
Somebody who has been locked up for let's just say over 15, 20 years, I could see where there'd be a problem them stepping back into society.
Yeah,
but if the everyday FTAs every day, selling drugs, They, you know what I'm saying?
There should be a punishment.
It should be a punishment for that.
Oh, my bad. There should be a punishment.
But then again, these people are not. I mean, I'm sorry for using that, but they're not going to learn if you're just going to say you're just going to give them a slap on the wrist and then help them right back up. I mean, there's a certain thing of charity and taking care of your brother, but when your brother's out there committing crimes and breaking laws and doing what he 100% knows is not right, are you going to award them? No.
I went to school with a young guy that had gotten in trouble so much. That's all he was used to. You know, how many times, what are you going to do after so long? Lock him up forever for
this is something we actually talk about quite a bit. That person, even though that is what they are used to, they have a choice. And if their choice is to break the laws that they know they know what they're doing, 100%, they're not doing it unconditionally. They're not doing it uncontrollably. They're doing it on their own choice. Do you award them for that?
No, you don't, but you definitely have to help them you have to help them to understand what a better path is. Some people may come from bad paths their whole lives. If you don't understand, if you don't understand,
I can understand the rehabbing only if they have been in there 15, 20 years. The rest of it, that's your baby. I'm sorry. Now, you can have a class while they're locked up in jail. This is the way you need to behave in society and stuff like that while they're there. That's one thing, because they're just sitting around not doing nothing anyways, because we can't even have a chain gang anymore. You know, they're just sitting there collecting free money. I can understand them going to the class. This is how you pay the bills. This is where you go get a job. This is how you behave while they're actually in lockup. Now, once they leave, that's on them. I'm sorry.
It was also on them before they got in that place.
That's true. But sometimes, just like she was saying, they need a little step up.
Yes.
But it's not right just for them sitting there. I'm sorry.
Are we still talking about the shelter?
Yes,
stuff?
we're talking about talking about the patients and anyone that may wind up being in the shelter, and how possibly as a community looking at them as not only crime committing, not only people who participate in committing crimes with mental health issues, but also there's the aspect of, on the other end, we do still need to figure out where to put anyone who at any given time in their lives, residents of Jonesboro, or they come to Jonesboro and they need help mentally, or they need housing for them and their children.
We
got to find out where to
actually have
do
places
this.
like that here in town. Mid-South is one of them, and St. Bernard's offers one.
And definitely, you know, like you were saying, Brad, it's only so many times that you're gonna slap on the wrist. I've definitely been saved quite a few times by angels God has sent to me, and you do have to start making better decisions, but you would not without offering.
The question is, where's the accountability in all this?
But we still got to find a place, a facility for the homeless and for those who have mental illnesses that the jail is going to get tired of babysitting.
They're working on that.
Yes.
They're working on that.
We need a list, Brad. We need a possible list.
I love that she said that to Brad, and Brad was like, I have nothing to do with that.
I'm writing a note for a list.
Call back.
Call back. Caller, you call back, and we are...
Facebook comment, please.
Yes.
We are going to break.
We are actually running out of time.
We are going home.
So, if you have something to say, please say it quickly.
Y'all have a good weekend.
Are they educating any of the employers to help those people come back into society and being able? That's their problem. They can't get jobs even after training.
There is some training going on. There's crisis intervention training that they are using for pretty much trying to help people with these situations.
I wrote it down.
People like people who are facing mental illness. There is a training for it. I know I've been trained in it at my job. There's also, I don't know so much if they're doing police training for that situation. No, for crisis intervention.
But training is a good thing.
Training is always a good thing.
Love you, Mama.
Education is always a good thing. And I'm so sorry that I hung up on you, but we only had like a little bit of time. I'm so sorry, Miss Scott. Please forgive me.
And y'all have a blessed weekend. And for those who are listening to our show, our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.7 102.5 FM. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
Amen.
Indeed. Thank you guys so much for participating, for calling, for letting us know what you think on our Facebook. I don't know what's going on with the video. We're going to look into that, and I'm going to let Kato Wonder handle that because technology is not my thing.
Harvest Festival until 4 at Blessed Sacrament, I believe.
Thank you for listening to our thoughts on the matter on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program offering opinions from all sides of the issues concerning local, state, and national topics of importance to the Jonesboro community. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters, donors, or sponsors.
KLEK-LP, Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council.
Hello, Jonesboro. This is meteorologist Tim Root with your KLEK 102.5 forecast.